This is the weekly sales meeting for September 21st, 2025. My name is Chris Fleming. You can reach me at chris@cdmediaconsulting.com or go to our website at cdmediaconsulting.com. Today's topic is, are you set up for success or set up for failure? Success and failure often begin at the same place. Both stem from the decisions we make every day. The sales team shows up, the calls get made, meetings are scheduled, but what separates a thriving sales organization from a struggling one isn't only the activity, it's the mindset behind the activity. It is the habits that shape our behavior. It is our systems that guide the effort. And the systems are there to guide us on the days when we do not feel 100%, as no one can be on every day of the week, because life happens. But our systems can light the lamp on the side of the selling highway. Systems determine outcomes, and those systems either set you up for success or failure. Let's be clear, the gap between success and failure is not always obvious at first. In fact, it can look like two teams doing nearly the same things. Both teams might be on the phones, both teams might be closing some deals, but success in sales isn't about the surface, it's about the foundation. Success is built by sellers who think like owners, take control of their pipeline, and pursue the right customers with discipline. Failure happens when sellers go through the motions, chase the wrong prospects, and allow excuses to become routine. One of the easiest ways to set yourself up for failure is to confuse being busy with being effective. It's a trap many fall into. A full calendar feels good. A long to-do list feels productive. But not all tasks move the needle. As Greg McKeown, author of Essentialism, put it, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Successful sellers are ruthless about how they spend their time. They don't confuse motion with progress. They focus on the tasks that drive outcomes. They avoid wasting energy on anything that doesn't serve the mission. They focus on high-value activities. They spend time engaging qualified leads. They work on developing relationships with key decision makers. They spend their time advancing real opportunities. Those that struggle spend their time reacting to requests. They are chasing low-probability leads. They are often fixing problems that should have never occurred in the first place. Preparation is another critical factor. According to Salesforce research, 78% of business buyers say it's very important that salespeople act as trusted advisors. Trusted advisors prepare. They know their prospects. They've done their research. They speak with clarity and relevance. Failure begins when sellers show up unprepared and ask generic questions like, "So tell me about your business." That one line alone signals to the buyer that the seller hasn't done the work. In contrast, a prepared seller might say, "I saw that your company recently added 12 new service markets. How has that changed your sales strategy?" One approach leads to deeper conversation. The other shuts it down. Success also depends on setting clear expectations and owning your value. A seller who knows the value they bring can hold their ground on pricing, steer the buyer toward the right solution, and walk away from bad deals. A seller who doesn't own the value proposition will constantly chase approval. They'll discount too soon. They'll overpromise to close the deal, and they'll underdeliver. This creates churn, frustration, and missed targets. The Harvard Business Review reports that top-performing sales reps are 2.8 times more likely to focus on teaching the customer something new rather than pitching features. This shift from selling to guiding is a signpost on the path to success. But what about leadership? Success or failure doesn't only come from the sellers on the front lines. It comes from the culture they work in. Leaders who build a clear, focused sales culture create momentum. This clear, focused sales culture is one where activity is tracked, feedback is given, and goals are aligned. These leaders coach, they train, they listen. Leaders who avoid accountability sow confusion. Those who tolerate poor performance get more of it, and those who fail to communicate direction create more of it. Over time, confusion becomes disengagement. Disengagement becomes apathy, and apathy kills sales. Gallup data shows that companies with highly engaged employees outperform their peers by 21%. Engagement starts at the top, but it has to reach all the way down. Another major fork in the road is how objections are handled. A successful sales organization clears out objections early. They don't hide from the no's, they seek them out. That honesty allows real opportunities to emerge. Failing sales teams delay hard conversations. They avoid hearing no, and by the time the deal falls apart, they're caught off guard. But deals don't collapse at the end. They collapse at the beginning, when questions weren't asked, objections weren't surfaced, and the buyer wasn't qualified. So how big is the gap between success and failure? On the surface, it might be hard to see, but over time, the difference is massive. The data shows this. According to a research by Gong.io, top-performing reps win deals at rates 2 to 3 times higher than average reps. They also close larger deals and shorten sales cycles. These differences don't come from talent alone. They come from the systems in place. They come from the way a seller thinks, prepares, and executes. These sellers make small improvements each day. They ask better questions. They have a sharper focus. They have more honest conversations. This is what leads to better results over time. It's also worth noting how habits shape outcomes. Selling is a profession of patterns. You win or lose based on what you repeat. If you build good habits, you will outperform others. These habits include consistent outreach, detailed follow-up, and having clear and defined next steps. If you skip steps, forget to follow up, or wing your presentations, you will struggle. As Aristotle once said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That's true in sports, it's true in school, and it's especially true in selling. Sometimes the gap between success and failure is one decision away. Do you pursue the big opportunity or take the easy win? Do you invest the time to research a prospect or show up cold? Do you push for clarity in the meeting or let the buyer stay vague? These moments may seem small, but they stack up. 100 small decisions shape whether your sales organization is moving towards growth or decline. Let's not ignore mindset either. Successful sellers believe in possibility. They look for ways to add value. They stay curious. Failing teams blame the market, blame the leads, or blame each other. They defend bad habits instead of replacing them. This difference in mindset is critical. In Mindset, Carol Dweck explains that people with a growth mindset believe effort leads to improvement. People with a fixed mindset avoid challenges because they fear failure. In sales, a growth mindset is not only helpful, it is required. Technology also plays a role. Successful teams use their CRM as a source of truth, a planning tool, and a guide. Failing teams treat it like a chore. As a result, they lose visibility into their pipeline. They make decisions based on guesses, not data. McKinsey research found that companies using data-driven sales strategies increase ROI 15 to 20%. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you don't manage it, you can't improve it. Let's talk about urgency. Successful teams move with purpose. They know that time kills deals. Every delay creates risk, so they follow up fast. They send recaps. They close loops. Failing teams stall. They wait too long. They let momentum fade, and buyers drift away. Speed builds confidence. A study from InsideSales.com showed that responding to a lead within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective than responding after 30 minutes. That's a massive difference. It speaks to the power of being intentional and urgent. One of the biggest differences between successful and struggling sales teams is how they handle rejection. Struggling teams take it personally. They dwell on the loss, second-guess themselves, and lose momentum. Successful teams do the opposite. They learn from it. They adjust. They move forward without carrying the weight of the last no. As Zig Ziglar said, failure is an event, not a person. In sales, rejection is part of the job. But if you treat every no like the end, you'll never stick around long enough to hear the yes. How a company handles onboarding and training says everything about its priorities. Winning teams treat training as an investment. They offer real coaching, structured role play, and targeted feedback. They prepare their people to succeed. Failing teams skip that step. They hand out a script, say good luck, and hope for the best. But hope doesn't close deals. Hope doesn't build confidence. And hope isn't a strategy. It is a good girl's name, but a terrible business plan. The opposite of hope is preparation. Know where you want to go and don't hope to get there. Prepare to get there. Be mindful of the steps and take them in order. Don't skip them, but don't count them either. Make the journey. The path you take on day one often determines where you end up. Train well or fall behind. The bottom line, success and failure aren't only outcomes, they are created. They are built through choices. They are created by culture. They are arrived at through preparation. They are created by your mindset. The gap between them may look narrow on the outside, but it is wide enough to separate growth from collapse. The key is to act early and to act with both discipline and purpose. As sales leader Mike Weinberg says, most sales problems are not sales problems. They're leadership problems. Make sure your leadership has the proper destination in mind, and the skills make it there in one piece. Every sales organization makes a choice, whether they realize it or not. They can build a team that's focused, intentional, and driven by delivering real value, or they can drift into a culture that's reactive, unclear, and dependent upon luck. One path creates momentum, stronger relationships, larger accounts, and consistent wins. The other creates chaos, burnout, turnover, and missed targets. The difference isn't effort, the difference is direction. Either you build with purpose or you react without one. And in sales, direction always beats motion. Someone needs to be guiding the ship towards its future horizon goals. Point that bow towards a place on the horizon and figure out the steps needed to reach that destination. In the end, the difference between success and failure isn't always about skill or talent. It's about how you think, what you focus on, and the habits you repeat. The best sales organizations don't wait to find out which path they are on. They choose it. They reinforce it every single day, because the gap between failure and success isn't measured in effort, it's measured in alignment. Align your team, your systems, your habits, and your mindset. Get that alignment right and your success will follow. If you fail to get it right, someone else will soon be in charge of your life and your future. My new book, Double Your Revenue, is now available on Amazon.com. If you like what you have heard here today, please consider ordering a copy or two. You can always send one to a friend. Go to cdmediaconsulting.com right now and follow the instructions to order.